businesses that provide a welcoming and supportive workplace for all of their employees, including transgender and transitioning people, will create a welcoming and compliant, legally compliant work environment. And that's good for business too. So it's not just, hey, comply with the law, do the right thing, usually is good for business, prevents litigation. It's all around the best approach. I find it helpful really to identify some key terms. There's a lot of misunderstanding out there. First, gender identity. Gender identity is that sense of gender that everyone feels inside about themselves. Gender expression is a person's gender-specific behavior, clothing, haircut, voice, etc. And transgender, often misunderstood, it's independent of sexual orientation, and it describes someone whose gender identity and or gender expression is different from the sex that was assigned to them at birth. And at some point in their life, many transgender people decide they must live their lives as the gender they have always known themselves to be. And that's when they transition to living as that other gender. Now, transitioning does not necessarily involve hormone treatments or sexual gender reassignment surgery. It's a process by which a person actually just begins living as the gender with which they identify. And this may include changes in their name, pronoun, clothing, grooming, and use of facilities such as bathrooms or even locker rooms, which scares some people sometimes. But for example, your employee John Doe may start appearing at work in a feminine clothing, asked to be called Monica, referred to as she, and will begin using the women's restroom. That's somebody who's transitioning. I've had a lot of employers call me in an absolute panic because they've heard rumors that someone is transgender, or they say cross-dressing, something's going on, they don't understand what it means, and they're afraid that the employee's going to start showing up wearing all kinds of weird outfits or worse. And in my experience, this is completely unfounded. Transitioning is a serious step for transgender people. They're really trying to live their lives honestly and live a normal life while being true to who they are. And that means they're going to do their best to present themselves in a dignified and appropriate manner. And usually if there are any problems, they tend to be because of the reactions of other people. Transgender individuals in particular are impacted by violence and discrimination in ways that contribute to them being unemployed, underemployed, and homeless. Transgender workers have twice the unemployment rate as the general population as a whole, and one recent study found that 50% of transgender employees have been harassed at work. And dealing with these reactions is really where we face the challenge. You need to show employees that respect for everyone as an individual is a condition of employment. Carefully drafted policies and basic training for supervisors will also go a long way to prevent problems and create a welcoming and legally compliant work environment. And that's also, if you have concerns, you call somebody like me. Not only can I help you in attorney-client privilege context, I can direct you some resources. For example, we have Trans Central Coast here in San Luis, great resource, and we do a lot of education at no cost to businesses, nonprofits, and so forth. But let's talk really briefly about the July 1st regulations. It's already unlawful for California employers to discriminate or harass any person because of their gender expression, and transition status. The new rules are going to add some protections for people who are transitioning, and employers are going to need to abide by an employee's request to use a new gender name, pronoun, etc. And the rules do go far beyond bathrooms, as Armina was saying. You're looking at locker rooms, dressing rooms, other things like that, and employers may need to make accommodations for that. And as a lawyer, I'm going to tell you that violating these rules can be very expensive. You really do need to get some understanding of these. So that's why I hope you pick up a copy of the regs, and I'll stick around later to answer any questions you may have. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Susan.